Just wanted to review my day and acknowledge some things as well. I feel like on one level I am sort of able to get in some kind of little mini routines and maintain certain habits that I'm trying to build on. There's like a wave of energy that kind of has got momentum to do those things, such as things around sleep, things around nutrition as well, and also a little bit more on managing what I need and adjusting. But there's a whole nother part of me that feels quite disconnected. Like I don't feel like I'm connected to my body or my emotions. And it's not quite dissociation, but it can feel a bit similar to that as well. Where part of me feels a little bit artificial in some ways. It's hard to describe it more than that, but so it's kind of these two sort of energy flows happening. The one where there's kind of some momentum and attraction to maintain my nutrition, and then the other side where I feel really uncertain and maybe confused as well. So again, it's that paradox of some sort of clarity, functionality, and then there's the sort of confused and numb maybe, or just emotionally things can feel very dense, so it's very hard to pick out an emotion almost. We're similar to being in survival mode, I guess, where there isn't room to kind of there isn't sort of that space for emotions to arise. It's almost some kind of density or intensity that's happening. It's been a quiet day for me, which has been good in a sense. Sort of low energy day, low sensory day as well. I haven't really haven't spoken to anyone, and which has maybe given me a rest as well, as finding more and more like communication with people. It's just can be very draining, but it's of course essential and wanted at the same time. So it's kind of again that another paradox of sort of wanting connection, to maintain, to grow connection, and enjoy connection, but at the same time it's quite taxing to express what I want to, and to go through the rigor of trying to find the words and all of that stuff. I've arranged to see a friend tomorrow, so again that took lots of effort to decide that, and it's strange, there isn't any sort of feeling inside of me of thinking, even though it's going to be, I'm sure, like a pleasant experience in lots of ways, but maybe part of me still carrying a bit of heaviness and just that sort of density that I mentioned, I think it feels quite numb, and it's almost that first like wave of energy kind of, or the logic of just being in company I thought would be healthy for me to do. Like I had a day of rest, and then maybe tomorrow seeing a friend. But there isn't that sort of feeling of, that sort of direct feeling of, okay, yes, I'm going to enjoy sort of being in company. It's more of a case of, on some level, my body and mind respond to sort of being in company and not being alone for too long. And then, there's the other part of me, the disconnected part, that's just unsure. It's even maybe a bit concerned or a bit apprehensive about how my energy is going to be. Am I going to be sort of overwhelmed in terms of conversation? And it's powerful to be aware of this, because maybe some of that can loosen stuff. Or even talking now, I'm aware that part of me is calm as I'm talking, part of me is kind of, and whether that's something deeper in me, like my nervous system is calm, like my mind is dense and foggy, and emotionally I feel, it's very hard to pick an emotion out or feel an emotion, but maybe on some level. So again, working with what I have at the moment, and there's definitely a small part of me that's able to maneuver, even amidst the density and all of that stuff, the numbness. There's a small part of me that's still, very aware of what's going on, and I can kind of work with that small amount. Whether it's just enjoying, maybe when I'm interacting with the friend tomorrow, to be very present, even amidst not being able to feel anything, I enjoyed playing some poker today. I entered a tournament on this free website, so it's all kind of free chips, and I got to the final table, so there's about 6 of us left. I think there's 100 to begin with, and I found that quite nice as well, where I was purely sort of resting on the game. I wasn't, sometimes when I'm playing, I'll like have YouTube on in the background, and I'll be flipping tabs and sort of half listening to like a podcast or something and half playing, and this time I kind of just allowed myself to be present as I played. Like when there were kind of lulls in the game, I was waiting for someone else to for their turn in the hand. I would kind of just go into that sort of a bit of a meditative state and just be aware of the quietness. And I thought I didn't need to add anything to the moment, where usually I would kind of put on like ASMR or put on another layer of stimulation, like the poker game. My mind would think, I need more than this. This is too quiet. But this time I kind of, I sat with the quietness, so that was good. So it's the end of the day in the evening now. I'm in bed, and I kind of had a light dinner. My appetites really still continue to not be too good. That and the poker game tournament sort of ran into like the later evening, so I had my dinner a bit later than I normally do. But either way, I was just noting again that I'm not too, appetite's not been too great. I've doubled up on my magnesium. It's the first time I've done that, so we'll see how sleep is today. I've done really well of my caffeine. The only thing I had was green tea this morning, so I should have no issues with caffeine. And that's been a bit out of control while I was staying with family. I was kind of, it's so easy when someone says, "Oh, do you want a coffee?" And it's like, yeah, okay, but it can find it being a bit harder to have control sometimes, or find my own center to think, do I actually really want a coffee, or is that not gonna be too good? So yeah, so I've done well with sleep, and it's good to acknowledge that. I had a better sleep last night, and I'm hoping to have a bit, a continued sort of minimal disturbance of sleep. And yeah, just continuing the theme of numbness, and sort of, I find that with sleep as well. Like, the only feelings I have with sleep is just how poor my sleep has been. That's the only feelings that come up. Like, if I had a really bad sleep, then I can feel that. But I can never feel like I've had a good sleep. And that's not been there for a long time. So yeah, so again, I'm working with that as well. Like, if I have minimal disturbances and I'm not, that's like a real big plus. So not necessarily like a good sleep where I feel rested, like I've never, maybe part of that's just long COVID, that, or like in the mornings, it's just, yeah, it's never going to feel like I've had a really restful sleep. But not feeling like I've had a really terrible sleep. There's a sort of gap there. So again, focusing on what's available. So yeah, I'm hoping to get a sleep. I'm just going to do some reading. I'm a little bit late to bed, so but yeah, kind of maybe some intentions for tomorrow morning before I leave to see to meet up with a friend. Maybe do some yoga, or at least some sort of yoga stretches in the morning. And I've been doing my shoulder rehab stuff as well. Got a bit of a shoulder sort of injury that flares up, and it flared up with the shingles, so I've been doing some rehab stuff. So yeah, I think that, and sort of continuing with like porridge and a healthy sort of breakfast, and maybe a green tea before I go. Yeah, I think that will be a good start to the morning. But yeah, so a little bit of reading and sleep.